All right. So with this one, I'm going to show you how to create halftone patterns in 2 different ways. One is natively right side inside of Photoshop. The other one takes a little bit more process, but is doing the same kind of idea. So the first one is you can see, well, it's hard to see because it's gray, but you start off with a gray. It has to be gray for this to work. If it's black, this doesn't work, right? So just know that it has to be a black or a grayed image. I'm going to turn it into a smart object, right, which is filter, convert for smart object. It already is one, so it's not highlighted. And then the filter gallery that I'm going to go to is sketch and halftone pattern, right? Sketch, halftone pattern. And you can see it took my grayed image and created basically lines out of it. And that's because I selected lines. I could go with dots. I could go with circles, right? And I could change the size of these, right? So I can make these bigger, right? So you can see the circle pattern that it's creating. Or I could do dots, right? And I get a dot pattern that's there, right? You see the size. Sometimes when it gets bigger, this becomes really not great. You see it's like super pixelated and fuzzy. You can up the contrast to kind of balance that out. And now when I'm done with that, I now just have this kind of pattern that I could then overlay over top and do all sorts of interesting things with it. Now, when you're talking about glitching and stuff like that, it's not as much of the dots, and it's definitely more of these lines that you want to create. And I can then do OK, and it creates these lines that are going over top, right? And then I could blend that to, let's do overlay, and you can see now it has this kind of lined effect as if, and then you combine that with maybe the monitor glitching with something else, and we can kind of combine these kind of over top of each other, right? And these are just then other examples of that same kind of thing. So this is a circle pattern. So just another way to create kind of a pattern without you having to do a whole lot. Now, the other way that I like more than this way is I just have it's more realistic the other way. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to just do select all, Command A, Command C, Command N for new, Command V for paste, right? So I didn't use the mouse at all for that, right? So select all is what? What's the keyboard shortcut? Command A, right? And then copy is what? Command C. And then create a new document is what? Command N. And then I hit enter because I'm using what I already copied from the clipboard. And then to paste it is what? Command V, right? So all those things without even really touching the mouse at all, right? So those are important to do. So now we're going to go into image mode grayscale. I'm going to say flatten, discard. And in this case, I'm just going to play with a little bit of levels just to get some of the whites a little bit whiter. That's fine. And then I'm going to go to image mode bitmap. And then inside the bitmap, it's going to say, oh, okay, what do you want? Now my output, I'm going to try to keep the same as my original one, because if I don't, it just blows it up and may be distorted. So I'm going to say, let's bring that back to 72. Halftone screen is good. The default is diffusion dither, right? And if you click on that and you go, okay, it's not going to get the desired result. You need to change this to halftone screen. And you can see I have shapes. Round, diamond, ellipse, line, square, cross, and all those behave slightly different. So let's try line. Frequency, the lower the frequency, the bigger the lines that you're going to get, and the less lines that you're going to get. The higher the frequency, the more lines it puts in. It just depends on your visual. An angle does just what it says. It puts it on an angle, which is what I'm going to do here, and do OK. And you can see there's a bunch of little lines that are here. Now, let's back that up, and let's try a different, let's do mode, bitmap. Let's change it to 300, halftone screen. Right. And so you can see I still have those lines that are going on there. Let's say you want them a little bigger, right? Let's say this is a big image, you want them a little bigger. What did I say to change to get? So if I wanted to change these to bigger, all I have to do is change this frequency. Let's change this down to 5, not 205, 5. Do you see I get more, lines are more visible, All right. In order to copy this back out, I have to change this mode back to grayscale. It doesn't work otherwise. So I'm going to do select all, copy. We're going to find that image that you have and paste. Oh, because I did it at 300 and not 72. But let's say that was right. And now I can kind of blend this down, and now I have these halftone patterns kind of blended in. Let's go back here. Let's change that to 72. Good. Select all, copy. Go back here. Paste. There it is, right on top. And we're going to blend that. There's multiply. And you can see I now have those lines going right over top of that image. And again, I can mask that. I can now do that glitch effect kind of over top. Let's do Command-Shift-Option-E. Let's double click. Let's change this to, I don't know, let's use blue. Blue was a bad choice. Let's do red. Right now I have a little bit of a glitch that's happening here. Let's do some levels over top so you can see what's happening. Right, I'm going to show you some other things now. We can then go from here. We can now go on top of this and really change and alter some things based upon some other filters and some other things that are there. Any questions on how to deal with this?
What did you have to do to get the...
To get what? The lines? Okay, so that is going into this new layer here, right? So, and going into image mode bitmap. That's already in bitmap. So it'd be image mode bitmap, changing it to halftone screen. Okay, so that is taking it into changing it into halftone.